Some of them might be listening. I know one guy's listening, or my man Kevin. In fact, I'm going to be using Kevin's. He wrote a newsletter for the ISA. You know who the ISA is? Of course you do. That's Rick's, the International Sports Academy, who we hook up with. What's that for?
Just so we know how long we take. Can you,
No, get out of here with this. She put a timer.
can I share a couple things before you start
Yeah,
the newsletter?
yeah. So we want to say hi to our African friends. We want to say hi to people in the Philippines, our friends in the Philippines who listen, other places. Certainly a lot of people in America. Our boy Adam, what's up, Adam? Friends in Florida, our friends in South Carolina, North Carolina. A lot of my friends that I knew from Newburgh. We want to just say hello to all you guys. Our shut-ins, we love you, we miss you. So let's get into this. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things. One, so I think I said the last time I shared before we left, about I want to go, I just don't want to get there because I'm not a fan of flying. And I shared it at the women's retreat, which was just before, so we weren't here. It was just before we left. And I shared kind of the same with them. And I asked for prayers. I said to please pray for me. It's a long flight to spend in fear, right? And so I just want to encourage us how faithful God is. Truly, like the power of prayer. You have no idea, like Frank will tell you, usually he has to find the feeling back in his hands shortly after we level off. And I had such peace that I can't even, the peace that surpasses understanding, that's what it was. It was a pretty decent flight, wasn't a lot of turbulence, but there were times, you're flying and it's like this, which normally I'm grabbing a hold of Frank, and there was none of that. It's just supernatural peace. Every flight, we had in-country flight on a plane that, has propellers, so really small. And Rick leaned over and said, listen, usually on takeoff from Nairobi, it's really, so just expect it. And there wasn't really hardly any, or at least I didn't feel it. So God is faithful. I just want to say that. And then I just want to make sure, I don't remember how many pictures, I was trying to put everything in, but Rick has an incredible team of young people over there that drove us or drove other cars and helped us and cared for us while we were there. Our son Kevin, his beautiful wife Valentine. There's some young girls, Tamsi, Tush Tush. Actually, her name is Tamian Ani, and Lois. And there was another young man named Coach Freddie who was amazing. He drove us. And we won't share this today, but ask me about just the care of God in a truck that had 0 brakes and a tire that had literally a hole that you could see the metal tread. And our one friend Stella said, it's Africa, we drive on that. And at one point I texted the prayer chain, I said, please pray. And anyway, but God is good, amen?
And we did manage, well, Freddie, my man Freddie, I hope you're listening to, he did manage to smash the truck not once, but twice into a wall because there was no brakes. Which I thought, me personally thought that was kind of funny. I kind of liked that. And Frank, please help. And I had to drive the truck off the wall and up the hill and run. It was pretty wild. But anyway, and I just want to mention Rick. Now, you guys know Rick, the ISA, and we'll get him here soon, probably next year sometime. I cannot stress enough. Like, you guys we're such a generous church, and you guys are so giving when the missionaries come. We have one here today. But if it wasn't for Rick, all this that you're going to see and all the stuff we're involved in Africa, we have none of it. Rick's the reason. Rick introduced me to all these people that you'll see. Rick's the reason we built the school. Rick's the reason we built the school. Rick's the reason. All of it. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. The ISA, it's a big deal. He is just reaching thousands of young people, not just a couple, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. His heart is to raise up a generation of believers, and it's just magnificent what's going on over there. Anyway, so let's get into this. So our boy Kevin, he calls us mom, and dad. He did a newsletter for the International Sports Academy, and he kind of chronologized how our trip went, put it in chronological order. So we're going to follow that because it's written so well. He's so smart. He's a nice-looking, awesome young man, just very articulate, seriously literate in English, speaks Swahili and other languages, just smart guy, you know. And so I'm going to use this, and then the pictures will follow. So this is how he started off. He says, "Scoring big for Christ, ISA and Crossroads Christian Fellowship transform lives across Kenya. We are thrilled to share the powerful impact of our recent life-transforming ministry mission across 5 regions in Kenya, made possible by the incredible generosity and partnership of Crossroads Christian Fellowship in Kingston, New York. Over the past several weeks, International Sports Academy blended sports, education, leadership training, and spiritual mentorship to touch the lives of hundreds of children, youth, and leaders in Nairobi, the Makoro, Kwa Ruben area, Narok, which is Suswa, Kajiado, which is where Lamarba is, Trans Nzola, which is Cachabora, and Bungoma counties. First stop, Nairobi, celebrating hope in the hearts of the slum. Now, why do we go to the slum? Again, you guys, you've heard a little bit about it. We don't share much about it. There's a school there that me and Jody started. There's a couple guys here that's so into this ministry. They called it the Frank Vernal Christian Learning Academy or Center. I don't like that. They insisted on doing it, so we're just going to call it the Christian Learning Center for when we talk about it. They can call it whatever the heck they want to call it about it. And let me tell you, the Maasai up in Lamarba wanted to name the school the Crossroads Christian Fellowship Rescue School of something. I said, no. So I said, no, don't do that. We don't need our name up in lights. We don't need anything like that. So I'm just going to follow his newsletter, and then we'll talk about the picture. So, now, celebrating hope in the hearts of the slum. Our mission kicked off the slums of Makoro, demonstrating our core belief that education and faith go hand in hand. Educational milestone. Pastor Frank was the chief guest at the Christian Learning Center. Grade 2 graduation ceremony. This school, founded to provide vulnerable children with quality education and buzzing with joy as youth graduates celebrated their achievement. Pastor Rick connected deeply with the teen soccer team, encouraging them to remain rooted in the church even as they develop their God-given athletic talents. A powerful reminder of ISA's mission to raise athletes strong in the skill and, most importantly, their faith in God. So as we go through this is the mission in the slums. Here we are. Now, I always laugh at that picture. Jordy, you jump in anytime you want. So they dressed me up in this stupid gown, right? I didn't want to do that. You guys know I don't roll like that, but it was very honoring and humbling, and I'm really glad that I did it. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. Now in Africa, so in the slums they do it, but they do it all over the place. And we were in a couple places, like especially up in Eldoret. That's a much upper class place. When their kids graduate, they have a marching band, and they march through town. That's what they do. So so they do that all over Africa. So, and it's for every class. So when the second graders graduate to third grade, when the third graders go to fourth grade, they're very vibrant people, but they celebrate people. That's what they do. They celebrate life, man. They celebrate everything. Sharon had a word about waiting on the Lord. We'll talk about that more as this goes. I mean, that's all they have. You see, they don't have, the resources aren't there, nothing's there. Well, no, I shouldn't say nothing's there, but the places that we visited, it's very difficult. So they have to wait on the Lord. You know, to build a school, like when I met Wakisa, their heart was to build a school. It was on his mind for years. He didn't have the means to build a school. There was no way. God put it on our heart to get involved with him, and we did. There's a couple guys here that also help out immensely. And we built a school. It's pretty amazing. So,
There's one more video, I think, next.
so that's just us, you know. Go ahead. Can you play that video? There we are. We're marching through the slum, and you're supposed to march. You know. That's the soccer team again. The reason that we're there is because Rick started an ISA team there. They play soccer. There's hundreds of soccer kids now, soccer kids. There's teams with hundreds of kids on it that play in the slum. So they joined also, the soccer team, and then you can see the graduates from our school. Look at them, look. That's what Keisa, that big dude, that gorilla right there with the sweatsuit on. When I first met him, definitely Kwame. When I first met him, I was like, look at this dude, man. But he's a big, gentle giant, loves people. Can you go to the next slide? All right. So we're not there. Just stay there. So again, the school, it's incredible. It's incredible with a little. You can do much over there. Like Wakisa had a church, just concrete church, you know, nothing. Him and his wife, they live in a back room. There's not even a window with a cot made out of trees and this mattress about this big. They have a closet. I guess you can call it a closet. It's like a shelf made out of just logs, you know, cut down trees. That's how his wife and Wakisa live, man. They just have a grandson. We got to pray for him. There's a lot more pictures I wish my wife would have put up on that where we gave out a bunch of diplomas to moving up. The whole team was involved. They decorated us with all these things, and it's a big deal. But like I said, a little goes much in other places in the world, you know. It's something to pray about. Like we have people here. We have a sister here that's from the Philippines. A lot of us, if we're honest, we'll stop at Monkey Joe's or Starbucks every day, right? You're spending $7 to $10 a day on a cup of coffee. You give up that one cup of coffee, right? That's $50 to $70 a week. And you hand it to somebody like May, that's $70 a week over there. May, am I lying? Goes a long way. A long, long way. So it's really just about sacrificing a little bit, but is it really sacrificing? Because instead of buying the Monkey Joe's coffee or the floppy joppy crap you're going to buy from wherever the heck you're going to buy it, you make your own coffee. You make a cup of coffee at your house, you pour it in the to-go can. You're still going to drink your coffee. You're not going to deprive yourself of coffee, let's be honest, right? You're still going to have your coffee, but you'll change lives, man. You will change people's lives.
So, you know, part of going to school there, part of what Pastor Wakisa has to do is provide food. If you're not providing food, they don't want to send their kids to your school. And again, these are kids that are really poor. They're eating, you know, they made us a lunch, our team, and there were a couple other leaders there. There was, you know, a little bit of meat and rice and whatever, but the kids eat rice and beans every day. That's breakfast, that's lunch, but they're eating. And I just wanted to say, too, that, you know, they're giving them an education, they're giving them sports, they're giving them Christ, mostly. They're making sure that they're raising up a generation of leaders that are believers. And then he also in his school has people that come in, give up their time. There was a man who's the local, cobbler. He fixes and makes shoes. So he leaves his business, comes to the school with his sewing machine, and teaches some of the kids that are interested in learning how to make shoes. So they're also learning trades. Another guy was teaching kids artwork. There was at least 3. What was the other one? Oh my goodness. One more, but the sports is aside. But anyway, so he's getting other people involved to come in and teach the kids a trade, right? Not everybody's going to go on to university, and many of these probably won't be able to, but then they can learn a trade too. So it's very much a multifaceted school.
Amen. All right, let's move on. Kevin, I know you're listening. Your newsletter is slamming, my man. So we spent 2 days in Nairobi. We landed on, when did we land? Wednesday?
No.
Yeah, we
Left
left the
Wednesday,
5th and we
Thursday.
landed the 6th.
Thursday.
Yeah, okay, Thursday, whatever it was. And we went to the slums first, and then we slept. The next morning, we're on our way. We're going up to a place called Suswa, Suswa. Now, that's in a county called Narok. I'm probably messing all that up, but the reason we went to there, this is a Maasai tribe, is because when I was there last time, I met this girl, Stella. And I fell in love with Stella. She was such an awesome lady. She was the girl I told you about that escaped. Her father sold her for a couple cows or whatever. And the next day, she was going, her low-life husband, 60-something years old, was coming to buy her at the ripe old age of 12. And she would have had FGM performed upon her, and she would have been a baby-making slave for the rest of her life. And Stella escaped. She escaped in the night. In fact, we're trying to get her. Hold on a minute. We're trying to get her to the States. She has a sister in Chicago. Her story needs to be told. She told some of it to my wife. It's dumbfounding, right? It's just absolutely dumbfounding. But when you escape like that, or even when Pastor Aaron, who we're very much involved in, rescues a girl, they're shunned from their village. I mean, they're like dead to them. Not to the mother, because the mother's usually the reason they get saved, because they don't want their daughter to go through the same thing they went through. But the village, unless there is a chance, if you can get somebody to represent you and bring you back to the village and, stand up for you, there's a possibility that you can be reconciled back to, well, that's what Stella did. Now, Stella, on her own, she gets rescued, goes into a different rescue center than the one we're involved in, goes to school. She becomes a banker. Like this lady's slick, man, smart. She worked in the banking for a long time, and she got kind of burned out. But in the process, she bought 2 properties. And in her village, because she gets reconciled back to her village where she comes from, she goes there and she builds a school in her village. That's so cool, man, right? She's so, not to mention she's gorgeous. She's absolutely stunning lady. She's so smart, and she has such a heart for her people, for the Maasai. She's saved. She loves the Lord, to bring Christ to the Maasai, and she spends a lot of time. It's a couple-hour drive to where her village is from where she lives. And right now she's praying about selling one of the properties that she has to put a home for women, for girls, to bring girls and save girls. I mean, and we're trying to get her here, to get her around churches, just so she could tell her story, right? It's just awesome.
I'll share a little bit after you read the thing.
So this is where we went next. We went to Suswa. In Suswa, how come I can't get rid of that?
Hit this button,
What button?
that button. There you go.
Thank you. You're so smart, honey. in Suswa, Narrett County, our focus shifted to equipping those on the front lines of ministry. Our team held a powerful leaders training session in Oloka Covenant Christian International Church. Church leaders were fortified with practical ministry tools, biblical leadership, insights, and strengthened partnerships that will fuel long-term discipleship in the region. Can you show the next slide? So, no, back up. You went too far. So we're right there. So we're on our way to Suswa, and of course Rick knows where he's going. And we're driving through the bush, man. There's like nothing. There's nothing. There's trees, there's bushes, and there's dirt roads that all interact and go like this. There's no stop signs. There's no sign saying go this way. There's nothing. So we're driving, and Rick's like, I think it's this way. Oh, I think it's this way. Well, we're lost. We're as lost can be. We are absolutely lost, hopelessly lost. And
We can't reach Stella.
but the wildest thing is, even in these remote areas, like you'll see guys dressed full garb, Maasai guys with their stick, smacking cows on their cell phone, though. They all got cell phones. It's hilarious to see. So the driver, Freddie, gets a hold of Stella. Says, we don't know where the heck we are. Rick certainly didn't know where he is. He swore he'll come here and say he did, but he didn't. We were lost as lost. And so we're talking, and these girls come walking up the street. And we said, hey, you know Stella? You know Stella? And so Freddie gives the phone to Stella, and Stella talks to her, and they're talking because in this area they speak Swahili, but the Maasai speak Maasai. So Africans don't know what the Maasai are talking about. It's not Swahili, it's their own language. So they're talking, and there's these 5 or 6 girls, and all of a sudden they say, move over. They get in the car and they move over. Now we're packed in the back seat, me and my wife, and 2 in the front. And that picture, you can't see it. That's my wife's leg right there talking to the. Well, these girls out there, they just decide to jump in. The one here with the kid pushes my wife over, just pushes her over. I almost go out the other door. Right, our luggage and stuff that's in between us, we're packed. She gets in with a baby, and the rest of them jump in the back, and they say, go. Go where? Boom, 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 they bang at it, go. So then off we went, and they got us right to Stella's, right? They got us to Stella's, it was awesome. Right, absolutely, African GPS. Go to the next slide.
Hold on. The funny part is Rick is actually using GPS.
Yeah.
Like-
It's taking us nowhere.
Like, how do you, we're lost. We're very lost.
He kept saying to Stella, he's talking to her, can you send me a pin? So she would send him a pin, and this little red dot comes up on your Google Maps, right? And we're moving, and nothing's moving on the Google Maps, though. There's nothing. So you have the pin, says we're here, here's the pin, but nothing's changing. We're just driving around in circles, driving around. There's a picture here. I wish my wife would have shown her the church. You didn't put it on there, the church.
I must not have sent it.
Yeah. So we did some. It was pretty cool up there. We met Stella's mother. We got to stay in her house. My wife's going to be mortified, but I'm going to tell this story just because I like embarrassing my wife.
We can tell that later.
So I'm going to tell it right now. So this is a couple days into the trip, and one of my wife's fears was having to go to the bathroom in Africa. You can relate. I'm sure everybody in this room can relate. The fear of going in that hole in the ground. I'm telling you, for those of us that have done it, right? It's not an easy thing. But the cool thing I've been to 2 Maasai villages, and the cool thing about the Maasai village, for some reason, they have the best outhouses that you could ever see. Like they put it on a slab, so it's on concrete. It'll have a metal building. Like I've been in outhouses, I'm not kidding you, I've been in outhouses where the walls are moving. There's more flies and bugs and stuff in there, and it stinks so bad that there's just no way, just no way that I could go in there. Honestly, I pee on the outside of the outhouse 1,000,000 times, right? But these outhouses are nice. But this particular one had the proverbial hole. Now, my wife, she was like, this was days now. My wife couldn't hold it no longer, right? So she says, I got to go. I said, well, George, you got to go. You know, you got to do it. You got to suck it up, and you got to do it. And my wife says to me, well, come with me. I said, what do you want me to do? Like line you up? Like, back it up, Joe. Little to the left, little to the right. I'm like, come with you. I'm not holding your hand. I'm not going in. So I walk her up to the thing and open the door and boom, good luck. And, you know, what did you want? What did she want me to do, man? What did she want me to do? Anyway, my wife comes out and she goes, I'm officially an African. Woo! I said, babe, did you hit a bullseye? Boom, there, my girl. So, so Jody's an official African now. Come with me. Come with me. I'm like, come with you. I don't think so, honey. Oh, I couldn't believe that.
Moving on. I just want you to see, so on our way there, there's like, you know, you're going down, the
Now
roads are no
we're
roads.
going to Aaron's now. Make sure you go.
Oh, but that's from Aaron's?
Yeah, that's the
Oops.
next. You left
Well,
out
these
so
are,
many
yeah,
pictures.
these are, the two pictures then on this side are from the first stop in Suswa. But, and you're right, on the way to Pastor Aaron's, we have to go through riverbeds. So we're in a truck, then there's another car, and you can see it just, at any moment, whether you're in the bush or in the middle of the city, cows or goats can just start to cross the street, and everything stops to let them pass. So he had this little car that disappeared in the cows, but
Yeah,
anyway, there's more
Kevin,
pictures.
we had a Toyota truck, and we needed more. So Kevin got this car that we rented. This little Honda something, and they promised that the road was graded, and it was going up to. You heard me last time talk about the road up to Pastor Aaron's place. There was potholes like this car would have disappeared in. But it was really graded. But we did have to go through two dried riverbeds, which was pretty steep. And we're approaching a riverbed there, and so Kevin slows down, and all of a sudden he's surrounded by cows. So I took the picture. I thought it was fun. Go to the next one. Next slide, please. This is all Stella. So this is Stella's church. That's Tush Tush all the way to the left, and that's Lois in the middle, and of course me. This cow here in the middle, that's Stella's mother's house. Now see, behind her house, that's her cow, that's the house, but she got a really nice house. That was her original house. These two guys right here, right, Jack and Frank. So this is after I had spoke that Sunday at Stella's house, and Stella's church, and afterwards we were gathered around. Rick gave out soccer balls because he's got a soccer team there too. He's got soccer teams everywhere. And I met this one brother, the shorter guy. And I said, hey, how you doing? I said, what's your name? He said, Frank. I said, Frank? That's an odd name for a Maasai guy to have. Like that you won't hear Frank. I said, really? He goes, yeah, my name is Frank. I said, really? I said, we got the same name. He goes, yeah, I know him, Pastor Frank. He knew I was Pastor Frank. I said, well, what's your friend? Hey, how you doing? What's your friend's name? He goes, hey, I'm Jack. I said, Frank and Jack? I said, my son's one of his best friends is Jack. Jack and Frank. Will you stand up, please? Come on, stand up. Look. There they are. Jack and Frank. But how does that happen? How do I meet two guys? I'm in nowheres. I am in the middle of nowhere. You can look miles to the horizon in any direction like this, and there's nothing. There's just, you'll see a house here and there and cows. But Jack and Frank lived there. Praise the Lord. I thought that was funny. Next one.
That's us ministering in her.
Right, that we're ministering there. That's her church. I spoke there in the middle. There's people, absolutely.
So on Saturday, we were there 2 days. Saturday, they had a youth conference that the three of us, Rick, Frank, and myself, all spoke at. And then Sunday was church. So as not to take a lot of time, I'll just tell you, one thing I learned in Africa is when they say it's going to take an hour to get there, it's double that. So if it's 3 hours, it's 6. Part of the problem getting there both days was the first day, traffic, lined up on a road were tractor trailers for miles and miles. So you can't go, otherwise you'll be there for 2 days waiting to get through. So we were 3 hours late for the youth conference. And then church, because we were trying to get our brakes fixed, sort of, we were 3 hours late for church. But let me just tell you, they waited. There's people coming, like I'm thinking, nobody's going to be left. Who sits around and waits for 3 hours? They did. So they had young people waiting there. And so what you guys did too, though, as we were coming, provided the food so that all these people who are walking, it's not like they jumped in their cars and drove, an hour to the youth conference. They're walking from all around to get there to bring their youth for this conference. And so, they have a promise of food when they get there, and you guys helped to provide for that.
Well, no, you guys did provide for her. Not you helped, you did provide for her. And it was awesome. And we were also late for church the next day, and so I apologize. I said, we're not normally this late.
All the time.
Like every service. But so they were very gracious. Next one. Look at my wife. That was one of the dresses that my wife was given. You see the stark contrast between my wife and me?
This is for Kevin. Please note the UPS man next to me.
Right, that's what Kevin said to me, what are you dressed as, a UPS man? They got jokes over there, man, in Africa. Punk. I flap you, Kevin. The queen, Esther has arrived. There's Stella next to me. And of course, Rick. And Stella is what an awesome lady. She is an awesome lady. There's the youth conference we're part of. Or is that Sunday morning? I don't know. But that's the church they built. There's a school back there that Stella built. It's pretty magnificent up there. And again, they're praying for you guys. They're praying for us every day. Every day, just because we came there. Again, this was Rick. This was all Rick's doing. So we went. We were received like we're a family. And, yeah, it was really cool. Next one. Sunday church service. There's me way up in the front there. That's enough said there. Keep going. Boom, boom, boom. Afterwards, after I spoke, we hung around and Rick handed out soccer balls because he's got an ISA team there. And I'm telling you, man, them to get the soccer balls and they just cling to them. Everybody wants soccer balls, but again, Rick don't just play soccer. They disciple kids. He has a whole thing. He wrote a book, a pamphlet that they use. They study the Word of God. He's discipling kids. He's just using sports to get them there, and it's really pretty cool. Go ahead. So now this is why we went to Lamar. I know that we thought we were going to go there and dedicate the school. The school isn't quite ready yet, but in the meantime, his daughter graduated from college, and our boy Aaron has been was given an honorary doctorate for humanitarian work from the nation of Kenya. So that's a big deal. So he's starting to get very popular. But with that, I want to encourage us. So with that popularity, there's a big giant target on him. He's hated. Like, he's hated. We got to pray for him. He rescues these girls. He goes and gets them. I could tell you a story. One night he called me. It was dark. He was in the middle of nowheres. I've never seen him afraid. I've never seen this. He's a real warrior. I told you this. He killed the lion. He's the real deal. He killed a llama with his bare hands. I mean, what do they call the small deer? A gazelle. Yeah, he just snatched and killed it, threw it in his truck. What the heck, man? But he was really afraid. He was going to get this girl. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was hostile, to say the least. He was going to run out of gas. He was afraid he was going to get stuck. They were going to come and get the girl and, kill him. Let me read what our boy Kevin said. Where we at? Empower the next generation of Maasai girls. The mission continued in La Marba, Kajiado County, highlighting the importance of standing against cultural limitations. We celebrated Maureen Olaruma's college graduation, a remarkable milestone in a community where many girls her age face pressure for early marriage to elderly men. At the rescue center, Pastor Jody, this was magnificent. Pastor Jody led an intimate and impactful session, encouraged the girls to recognize the gift of God within them. Using the story of Ruth, she reminded them they can rise above cultural limitation and life's challenges to fulfill their destinies. Through your giving and dedication to transforming the lives of girls in the Maasai land, a new school has been built and books were donated to the girls. As the old saying goes, when you educate a girl, you educate a whole community. Awesome. So can we get into this? That was really cool. So, of course, this is just, we took some pictures of the Marble Rescue Center, and you can go next. There's your school, guys. Look at that thing. It's ready. Everything's built. We're just waiting for desks and, chalkboards and desks and that kind of stuff. But we ate dinner in there, by the way, right? No. Was there, or was it the rescue center? I don't remember. Go ahead. There's his church. That's Pastor Aaron's church. This is the celebration that, I'll tell you, man. So they of course, they sit us under this tent, this front row, prominent spot, the white guys, the white people. But they really have a love for us because you guys have sown a lot into this. Trust me, any of you who go there will be treated like this, not just us. This is how you're going to be treated. There's such gratitude, amazing gratitude for what we have done. But we're sitting there. You can see my bag there, my little thing I carry. And here come this sea of Maasai. They're carrying the daughter who graduated. They're carrying her, right, like on their shoulders. And this sea of Maasais, and they're jumping and singing and dancing. And then Aaron comes, and he's got his doctor gig on and his thing and his hat and all that. And there is a sea of color, right? It's just spectacular. You have to see it you have to see it. Go ahead. Look, they're just all over. It was such an honor to be there. Like, we just were there, and we weren't doing anything. We were sitting and watching it happen, right? But go ahead. Until they decided that they wanted to honor us because we represent you guys, and of course Rick. So the school was built between us and the ISA because Rick also, through his organization, they donated money from that side. We donated money from this side, and so they gave us them hats. I love my hat. Them capes. My wife gets another dress and another shawl and about 50 pieces of jewelry. So here's some that they get. This was from the first Maasai, and this, I think, from the second. From them. We have so much stuff that they gave us. But anyway, keep going. So we had lunch there. That was in the rescue center. These are just shots with kids. That's the chief. We met the chief. Now, that they had to get permission from the chief in order to build the school. So, believe it or not, they checked us out. Like, they didn't just say, who's Christian, who's Crossroads Christian Fellowship. They can get online and stuff now. It's not that remote, right? They checked us out. They checked what we did. They checked to see what we did. They certainly checked out what Rick did, and they're going to build this school. We had to get the okay by the chief. The chief said it's okay. And lo and behold, so we're all good now. He was so gracious. He treated us so good. So, go ahead, next one. And these are just pictures. These are just pictures. Well, these are not just pictures.
The lady that I'm standing next to me on this side, her name is Evelyn.
Yeah,
She was the first girl that he rescued, who I think when Frank said it last time, now she's teaching Sunday school and whatever. She's so precious and sweet. And, you know, she's now a mentor to these other girls that are rescued.
And she teaches Sunday school. She's involved in the ministry.
She's giving
involved in
back. Now she's married. She has children. That I can't remember. Oh, Elizabeth. In the middle is Elizabeth, and that's Happiness. We thought initially it was her son, but it's not. We were
She was
kind
a
of glad. But
rescued
she's
girl.
14 years old.
Yeah,
She
she's a
was one of the
rescued
rescued girls. And then over here, this was one of my favorite parts. This was the next morning after we slept overnight there, and there were 4 kids there. There's Abigail, Lydia, Maxwell, and Brian. And they were relatives of Pastor Herons, and they just were hanging out with me and talking
They
and
love you.
teaching me Swahili words and writing things down. They were just super precious. And the hardest part for me was, so these are, you know, they're just kids like our kids, and inquisitive, and just spent time with them. And, you know, the whole thing was like emotional so much that you couldn't really tap into your emotions. And we were in the car, we're ready to leave, and we're hugging goodbye and saying goodbye. And you don't realize the impact you make, right? It was just a little time I spent. And I just want to encourage, please hear this if you donated 10 cents or you donated $1 million. Your handprint is there. You've made an impact. We got to see and touch and experience what you have done. This isn't us, and we kept reiterating this, right? And I'm glad they noticed. You know, they say Crossroads Church. But we were leaving, and we're in the truck, and we're saying goodbye, and I turn and I look, and this one kid, Brian, who's like 10 years old, he's standing there, and his eyes are welling up, and he can't look, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And so he came, Frank said, go give her a hug goodbye, and he gave me another hug. And, you know, it's like, just, you mean something, you mean something there. You did something and are doing something there, and it's changing lives. It really, really, really is.
When we were leaving, Pastor Aaron came up to me. He always calls me man of God. He says, I love you, man of God. And he's getting all choked up. Now, Aaron don't get choked up. He just does not get choked up, right? And he was ready to cry. The whole place was ready to cry because we're leaving. And anyway, go to the next one. There's the truck you bought. There it is. If you remember, we bought that truck. Remember? So it's being so used. It's ridiculous. Like they'll probably kill that soon. I mean, there's just carries. You know, OSHA would have a field day over there, man. An absolute field day. They put tonnage of rocks and stuff in these vehicles, man. Tonnage. So anyway, there it is. I just took a picture to show you guys. Next. Some more kids. That's Brian, and that's Maxwell. But the kid who's right next to me, he's the guy that couldn't look at us. He was standing on the side of the building. We're parked here. It's right on the side of Aaron's house, and he's looking like this. Tears are running out of his face, and he's looking, and then he goes, And he just couldn't look at us. You just want to grab him, man, and put him in a suitcase and bring him home.
So the picture, these two pictures, these
Yeah,
are
let me just
the
get
rescued girls that, so books cost money. What you sewed into it bought them the books that they need for school. So they're receiving, they're
hold
just
on, let me-
receiving their books.
So prior to us going over there, Rick says, hey, Frank, he says, he was talking to Aaron, and he says, you know, they're going to need books for the next semester. They get 10 workbooks for every class. So there's 10 different, you know, English, whatever, they all take English, whatever they are, subjects. And he said, you think we can get books? I said, we can absolutely get books. So all them girls, 31, 32 girls, you guys bought them books. You know what it cost? $200. $200, 320 workbooks. 320 workbooks. A whole year worth of education for these girls for a whopping $320. No, $200, right, $200 for 320 books. So that was pictures of the books we gave him. Go ahead, next one. Look at these kids. Rick graduated Penn State, and so did his wife, so, you know, there's Penn State's garb. On the left is Jody teaching the girls. Class, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I don't know if, for any of you that saw the picture of the young woman that Frank had sent, or Pastor Aaron had sent Frank, there was a young girl that was being beaten by her father and her brothers, and she showed up all bloody and a big knot on her head. That's her. Now doing it.
That's the one in the middle, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, next. Again, there's my wife. They loved my wife. There's her all garbed up. In the middle, that's her teaching the students. And a couple other people, too. A couple kids from the village came also. It wasn't just the students. But these are the students in front of the girls. These are the rescued girls in front of the school that we built for them. These are the books. Awesome, right? Go ahead, next. I hope there's a video. Yeah, play that. This is typical Mass Eye. Is there another one after that? No, that's it? So when I took that video, I couldn't even tell you how welled up I got. Because, you know, since January, me and Aaron have become really good friends. We talk a lot, we FaceTime a lot, and I get the pictures. I get the pictures of the girls before, and to watch 32 girls that were pummeled in life, pummeled, worship and praise God like that. There's nothing there's no price on that, man. There's just zero price. These kids are happy, they're vibrant, they have a shot at life, they're being cared for. Aaron loves these girls. I want to say something, though, to us, please. Elizabeth, his wife, she struggles. This is a really hard ministry. Now, in Africa, part of the things we did, we're doing leadership training over there, and we're trying to, they have a different mindset than us, but it's wrong. And I don't say that much. Usually I just say it's different, but theirs is wrong, because to them, it's ministry and everything else. That's not biblical. It's God, yes, and then your family, and then ministry. That's the proper way. That's the biblical way of doing it. So Elizabeth is in the middle of this thing where her kids things are being taken from their kids, you know what I mean? Like, they're going without, because Aaron puts everything into these rescued girls, everything into the ministry, and she's struggling because her son doesn't have what he needs, or, I mean, they don't have a lot anyway. It isn't like they have a lot. But her kids suffer because of the ministry. Now, I raised 3 kids. We raised 3 kids, and they suffered a little bit because of ministry. But food wasn't taken off the table because of church. Clothes weren't taken off their backs because of church. Things like that. Elizabeth struggles with that. I encouraged her many times. She cries and cries and cries. At this big celebration they had Aaron, Elizabeth, was there another person? But I got to pray for Elizabeth. And I got such a heart for Elizabeth. So I just prayed and I whispered in her ear because I don't want to offend anybody. And I just kept encouraging her. She cried, tears just crying and crying and crying. She loves the Lord with all her heart. She loves these girls. She loves God. But she loves her 2 sons and her daughters, man, you know. And so anyway, her name's Elizabeth. She's a wonderful, beautiful lady. Please pray for her because it's tough. It's tough. Next one, please. Again, here's the girls. Look at them. Look how they dress. Look how they look. They're so happy. Go ahead. Again.
Those are all the rescued girls. Okay, yeah. Okay, now it's the next place.
Yeah, this is the next place. Man, my brain is fried. We went a lot of places, man, let me tell you. Huh? We gotta keep it moving. Are we going too long? If you want to leave, you can leave. But we did a lot. So you remember, so now we go up to Katali. We're 2 days up there. It said in Katali, Pastor Rick, Frank, and Jody conducted 2 days of intense leadership training at Life Transformation Church in Cachabora and KAG Church. The sessions were designed to empower pastors, youth workers, and ministry leaders with practical tools to shepherd, blah, 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 blah. And then in Bogoma, New Doors Open through sports. Bogoma offered one of the most exciting glimpses into a new ministry frontier. They also, in Bogoma, Rick started an ISA, and now they have a lacrosse team. And the first lacrosse player ever in Kenya comes out of this ministry that Rick, through soccer, and this guy, right? This was pretty cool that next year, you know, the Olympics are here in LA, I think, next year, and lacrosse is going to be in the Olympics. Kenya is going to try to put a team into the Olympics. These kids that we met are the first lacrosse players ever, and we took a shine to it because my son played lacrosse, so we learned a little bit about lacrosse. There was just so much that happened up there. Hundreds of kids, teams gathered. It was just incredible. So let's get through this because I don't want to keep us here. I want to get us to Uganda. So here we are in is this Pastor Peter's church? Yeah. Remember Peter, the guy who with 3 soccer balls started 3 churches in 1 year? Remember him? Well, he now has 5 churches. 5 churches. He started 5, and these churches are thriving. They're thriving, and his church. So in fact, they're celebrating 4 years. His whopping 4-year anniversary. Today. Happy anniversary, Pastor Peter. Today, in 4 years, he planted 5 churches. 5 churches. There's 100+ people in every church in 4 years. It's incredible. Started with 3 soccer balls. So this is us in the church. We're doing leadership training. That's what we're doing. Go ahead. Again, that's us. There's me way up the front sitting. There's Jody and me talking, blah, blah, blah. Pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead, next one. That's Peter's church. He hit. These are all the leaders that we spoke to. You can see a couple white Mzungas in there. That's us. And but that church he had a church that he was renting on land, if you remember. And the guy sold the land, and the guy who bought the land bulldozed the church. Flattened it. He didn't even let him take anything out, so he had no church. When I was there in January, it was a tent. He moved his church onto this property with a tent. This is the church now. This is the church now. In less than a year, he built the church. We were able to sow into that, me and Jody. And go ahead, next one. Now, this is a pretty cool place. This is my man Steve, the guy there all the way onto the left with the white shirt and the tan pants. We went to his church to continue leadership training. This is in Catali. I spoke, Jody spoke. Did Rick speak? I don't remember. Sort of, because Rick did like the ISA thing. This is a soccer team. That's Rick Stone on the left. There's me speaking on the right. Steve was the guy that drove us to Uganda. He drove us from up in Bungoma, 6-hour trip to get us to Uganda. He drove us in his car. It took 9 hours though, because we got stuck at the border. That was a nightmare. And so go ahead, next. That's us praying. You guys don't know this, but you bought Steve a projector. And the reason is, you guys gave me some, to use my discernment. Steve-O is a solid man of God, and he's constantly in the streets, constantly doing what they call crusades, constantly preaching the gospel on the corners. But they'll bring this projector, like this thing. And they'll show the Jesus Movement movie, and they'll do things like that. It's a serious evangelist tool. So I think we donated a couple $100. You guys donated to Steve. And so he wanted to make sure that there was nothing. He wanted to make sure. I gave it to him in private. He did it in public. He said, Frank, I don't want nobody to say anything or no temptation or nothing. I want you to give me the money in front of the whole church. And so that's what we're doing. We're giving him a couple $100 because he wanted to be held accountable and all that, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, next thing. Pastor Vincent's church. So, Vincent's on another level, guys. Vincent is on another level. I want to tell you something very cool. Carmen, years ago, I introduced you guys to Vincent probably 20 years ago, right? We've been sowing. When I first went to Uganda, I preached in Vincent's church. It was a little concrete thing. It was about a quarter of this building, this room, not this building, this room, in Matuga. And he had this property on this hill that this church in Phoenix, Arizona helped him get, and they built him a house. So there was a house, nothing else. It was just a hill, and there was nothing else. And he had this church in town. And today, 20 years later, when Sharon said, you got to wait on the Lord, well, Vincent just waited on the Lord. And slowly, but slowly, he built an absolutely incredible ministry. I don't know how he does it. I don't know. But he has built the school. His motto was always, I can give these kids two things. I can give them Jesus, and I can give them an education. And his heart is to change the whole dynamics of Kenya if he can. Uganda. And he is going for it, man. He built this school, started with 20 kids. There's now 350 kids in his school, right? 350 kids. Now, again, this school is the orphanage, because his orphanage grew to 350 kids, and then he put them to school. Well, Kenya decided that that's not right. You can't get people to sponsor orphans, right? We have sponsored kids, because you're taking money and you're keeping them from their families. Maybe there's an uncle or an aunt, but you're getting money for it. So we then said, okay, what if we just call it a school? Well, if it's a school, you can take sponsorship and you can take that. And so that's what it is now. So now it's not an orphanage, it's a school. 3/4 of the year, 350 kids are on that property. 350 kids are on this property. There's kids, we were just there. There's the older kids doing their exams. Kids everywhere. teenagers, everywheres, man. But now we got this is the first time I was there, it was the third time I was there, it was the first time I got to see kids there, because we usually always ended up being there on a break. Now the lab that we built, the science lab that we built, we got to see people in there using the science lab, and a teacher who has a doctorate degree that came through Vincent School is now back there teaching these kids calculus and chemistry and stuff like that. It's incredible. Vincent has 30 staff, 30 people on staff. We're his number one supporter. We are. He has 30 people on staff. I can't believe it. His church is massive. The whole bottom church is classrooms and offices. Every square inch is used. He has dorm rooms. There was like a garage that was sort of like a garage, I don't know, on the house. That's now dorm rooms. There's dorm rooms behind that. They're extending the church because they want more. People are coming. They want more people coming. God is at work. You guys, seriously, good fruit. I can't stress it, right, Joe? I cannot stress it enough.
So one of the things Frank started to say, Carmen, several people here through the years have supported kids to get them through school. So Carmen had supported a young man named Samuel, and he graduated from the school, went through university. He is an electrical engineer in charge of five counties on the western side of Uganda. Just bought his first car. Brand new car. But Carmen did that. Yeah. So, some of us have supported kids through, if they'll go through university, Vincent continues to support them, right? And so Samuel was going to be there, but Tuesday afternoon or evening, and we were leaving in the afternoon, so we weren't going to see him. He was sorry, but we were able to talk with him through the phone. He was so grateful to tell Carmen, thank you so much for what she did. He was going to be back there because he's married, they needed some electrical work done, so he comes back to the school to help. So all these people, Vincent helps, young people, and part of the orphan story that I loved, it was really on Vincent's heart too, not to just keep them there. He said, if orphans stay here, especially during a break, what are they going to do? They'll be lazy. That's what he said. He said, Africans tend to be very lazy. I don't want them to be lazy. So they go home. Plus they have a connection with their family. They live with an aunt and uncle and their cousins, and they still relate to their family. And then there was we will have some pictures of an older lady who we had given a cow to. Somebody in the church or the church bought a cow for her. She now has a home, but she has no one else in her family. So there was a girl both her parents died, lived with her grandmother, then the grandmother died. So Vincent asked this lady, would you be willing to take this orphan in? And she did, and now that girl helps care for the pigs that she has, the cow and the goats that she has. She learns that when she's off of school, how to keep a house, how to care for animals. So Vincent thinks all of these things through. He doesn't just educate them, he cares for them and makes sure they're cared for. There's another lady you'll see a picture of who's become an entrepreneur. That was a single lady. He gave a cow.
Yeah, it started with a cow, but cows are hard. And then you remember we were buying pigs. Some of us bought pigs. So pigs are easy. They'll eat anything. Cows are hard. It's hard. So she started raising pigs. Now what she does, she raises red-eyed, them little white mice and the little white rats for science, which they do. Cancer research and all that. She raises them too. So now she raises pigs. She sells pigs. She now raises mice and rats. She sells them. She just put a big expansion on the front of her house, a new portico, pillars, all that stuff. This lady had nothing. Her husband died of AIDS 20 years ago when we bought her a cow. That was
a single mom.
Yeah, she was done. She was done now. Because
he asked her what she could do. She had a certificate in typing, so he hired her at the school. She's the school's administrator.
Right, she's the administrator
so this
of the
lady's awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so is
We
Vincent.
should go.
So go ahead, let's get into this. We'll get you out of here. So this is our ride. We're on our way there. This is just some dumb pictures. Look at that thing. Look, that'll pass OSHA. Yeah. So keep going. There you go. There you go. Go ahead.
That wasn't even near what they could carry.
So Sunday morning, they have two services. I spoke in the morning service. Jody spoke in the afternoon. That's just pictures of us doing our thing. Go ahead. This is classrooms. Look, they're taking exams. These are kids. The ones all the way on the left, they're the older ones taking exams, but they still had other.
That was Sunday school.
That was Sunday school in the middle. See the little ones in the middle there? That's part of Sunday school. They got dozens and dozens and dozens of kids on Sunday morning. The one in the right middle, that's the science lab. There's a couple students doing stuff. And the one all the way to the right is the computer lab that you guys bought the computers. If you remember, we bought computers a few years back. There's the computers being used. The class is packed out. They had one girl speak. They were so grateful that they have some of the best computers than anyone has, and they'd be antiquated for any of us, but to them, they're using them. So go ahead, next one. This here all the way on the left, they also have these sewing machines. These are really nice sewing machines, which I think we bought these sewing machines a few years back, if I remember, or we helped. They now, again, everyone isn't going to university, so they teach skills. They're teaching girls how to sew and how to be tailors and how to do different things. There's some of the, in the middle there's the science lab. We built that science lab, if you remember. All the way on what's that, is that Sunday service? I don't even remember. So then they had a special meeting Monday night. They wanted Jody to speak to the women. So it was raining, it can rain. It's like Florida. It can rain anytime, and then this is a rainy season, but it stops and it goes away. So they were afraid that there wouldn't be that many women. There you go. So keep going, please. Oh, that's Vincent's house all the way to the left. That's another classroom. That's a Sunday school class in the big picture. We didn't have more pictures of the women thing?
But those on that side is, with Frank and I and Vincent, there's the two girls that the men's
Two
group
twins,
support, the
two
twins.
twins, see the twins
And
all the
then
way?
the ones closer to me, Ken and Sandy support them. So there's others that we support, but they're younger and they couldn't be there.
Right,
But
we're
they
sorry
were
about
so
that.
grateful. They were just so grateful what it does to impact their lives.
Go ahead, next one. These are pigs, and this is the lady who raised the rats and the mice. There's her pig pen. Keep going. Again, cows, pigs. But we bought all these cows and pigs. We started these guys. We started these guys off. They had nothing. And now look, that's that lady's backyard. Look at that cow. Look where it is. It's beautiful. They own homes now. It's incredible. Go ahead. This is the lady's pig pen. Go ahead.
That's the lady that took in the girl.
Yeah. So when there's me, I had to join in and play the djembe with these guys. That's two women. I was in this lady's thing, right? They wanted, me and Vincent were there, so I jumped on a djembe. So Jody was speaking to these women, and then she started to pray for them. And there was probably 40, 50 women at that point, and they started singing. I was like, holy cow. It was so wild. It was so magnificent. The Spirit of God was so thick. These ladies singing in African language. I just wanted, instead of recording that big dope so that you guys could have heard it, I was so into the moment. I WhatsApped my daughter Emma, because I knew she was home from work, because this, there's an 8-hour time. I said, listen to this. And so she listened to it, and then the phone went out, but I never hit record. But it was glorious, man. It was absolutely stunning. They were so enthralled by my wife. I have to give her props, man. It was incredible. Every single woman came up for Jody to pray for her. Everyone. She prayed for, I don't even know, an hour and a half. She prayed straight for women. Go to the next one. Oh, you didn't put the thing? Of you getting praying for the women? Oh my God! I told you she wouldn't put no pictures of her.
I put a bunch of pictures.
What is that? I don't even know what that is. Click that. Oh, go to the next one. So anyway, that's the end. We have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of. Oh, you can stop that. We have dozens of pictures. If anybody's inquisitive and wants to see them, we have them. I have a lot more stuff. We already took an hour and whatever long. Half the church left already because, they're not interested in what we do around the world. And they had to go watch a football game or whatever the heck they had to do. Right, that's right. You tell them, Trace, you're still here. But anyway, that's our trip. We thank you guys, man. We couldn't have did it without you guys.
So yeah, I just want to reiterate, thank you guys for what you did, because you did this, and you're doing this. So we just want to pray and thank you. Thank you, Father, for what you did. Lord, I pray, Father, that it's so hard to articulate the importance of sowing into things like this and to help people feel connected in the same way that we do. But Father, I just pray that you would do it supernaturally and spiritually, that we would all understand, Father, that we played a part. We are doing something, and it's making not only a physical difference, but an eternal difference. So Father, we just thank you for what you're doing through us, Lord. Thank you for allowing us all to be part of what you're doing in the world, that we get to be your hands and your feet and your provision in places far away. And Lord, we pray most of all that in all of this, you are glorified. And we thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name.
So if you just 1 second before you leave, I just got a thing. This is from Pastor Aaron. It says,